GloucesterCast 243, 7 away from 250.
Seriously?
Seriously. It is, you know, a lot of times we get these days in September that are way nicer than any day we had in the whole summer. Yesterday was the first day of fall.
Yes, yeah.
And
beautiful. Yesterday was beautiful. Oh my God, the light yesterday.
Yeah, I saw some of the photos you took through the fog with like in just peeking through on the sunset of the dusk of orange, like there was an orange line and then the fog, but you got the paint from the paint factory
and all these ribbons of fog
bananas
against the pink. It was really incredible.
But these are, I say this all the time, the September and some, you know, I get them nice dry beautiful October days.
And pressure, that's
and so it's nice that we're doing this out in the field where it's just this fresh air blowing across our faces.
Yeah,
blue sky up
so
above.
Beautiful.
That brings our intro.
It's September 24th. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in the room, and the main topic today is the Cape Ann Plein Air second annual Cape Ann Plein Air event. And I was a little confused because Safathia invited me to go to Warren's house, and I thought, holy shit, how have we not spoken about the Cape Ann Plein Air event? Right. They're having it tonight. Did we miss the whole week of the Cape Ann Plein Air event? And come to find out, you guys did something a little bit different this year.
Just a little preview.
Well, this was, one of our sponsors, Sotheby's, was a major sponsor, and when they signed up to be one of our sponsors, offered to have us, to throw a party for us at a lovely house and invite their lovely clientele.
Oh, we're not supposed to mention Warren?
That's what it was. And so it was scheduled at Warren's house, Warren Waugh's house.
Yeah.
And we have to introduce who's speaking.
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah.
I was going to let her finish
it. It was
it.
kind of the kickoff to the whole thing, but the event itself doesn't happen until October 8th to 16th. So.
Oh, okay. So next, is that...
Couple weeks.
Please. Columbus Day weekend.
Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah.
All right. James Caviston is here, director of the Cape Ann Sea Arts?
President of Sea Arts for 10 years, and also one of the Chamber and Sea Arts and Rocky Neck and several other of the art groups got together over 2 years ago and decided this would be a good thing to do when it was high time, given the history here and how incredible the weather is, especially around Columbus Day. You just have these terrific events, and then we just got on it right away, and what a great example of how good collaborations can be. I mean, we've got 8 or 9 art groups working together, incredible sponsorship and support from the community. It's just been so terrific to see how everyone has turned out for this and the success. And like the thing that Sotheby's sponsored, I mean, this is a terrific example of like getting the artists to meet local people and creating bonds between the arts and the community, which there always has been on one level, but even taking it a couple steps further. We did sell a painting. Karen can talk about that more. I mean, absolutely all these ideas. We're always trying new things to bring more of the community together and also bring the outside world in, the collectors, the art visitors. I mean, in that respect, it's even though it's a festival, it's got a much broader mission that really fits into the whole, to see Gloucester and Cape Ann as an arts mecca. So
the event. There's so many different layers to this event. It's not just your traditional go to a gallery and look at stuff that's already hung on the wall.
Right.
This is active. It is dispersed throughout Cape. It's just so many different layers. It's so exciting, and the number of benefits as far as people traveling to here, seeing different spots, interactive, talking to the actual artist instead of just looking at the paintings. Oh, I like that. I mean, you talk to the, and everything else. Mm-hmm. And there's all kinds of, there's all different kinds of, it's spaced out too, right? Like you have each day is there highlighted events?
Yes. Yeah, there are events every day from October 8th to 16.
Wow.
And we stretched it out an extra 2 days this year because we wanted to have an extra time to show the work that the artists had done during the time that they're here.
So it's not just like a 1 or 2 day thing.
Correct, yeah, we
Right.
stretched out for an extra couple of days.
CapeAndPleinair.org.
Yeah.
.com.
Did I say? I'm sorry. Thank you, Chuck. Cape and Pleinair. And Pleinair is spelled
P-L-E-I-N.
Plein. .com.
There's
That's
in
full list
the
of sponsors.
if you're listening to the podcast, then you have the show note. You have the page, and we'll have links to all of that in the show notes. Catherine Ryan did is always on top of this stuff, and she did an extensive list and links back to the actual website. So Karen Ristuben and Chuck Haybeck are here as well. Chuck, what is your role in the event?
I was an early instigator of the event and wear a bunch of hats. So I did a bunch of the graphic design, did some of the marketing and advertising. I show up all the meetings. I get stuff done.
You're a doer. We like the doers. We like the doers. There's a lot of people, not always. There's a lot of groups that I've been involved with that there's the doers, and then there's the talkers.
Right.
Sometimes they're both.
Too.
Sometimes, and then there's the eaters, the ones that show up especially for art gallery events. Do you guys? Are you guys? Okay, you don't have to say any names, but are you aware? Because we were very aware when we had EJ's gallery, the Con Studio, Good Morning Gloucester Gallery on Rocky Neck. We were acutely aware when we had events that we said there was going to be like food, that there were people, like it was tight space, probably 50 people in this space, so you had to, and the food, we always put it in the back. And certain people, every time we had food, would come in the front of the gallery, not even acknowledge anybody, and work their way to the back, get the paper plate, and just... So it's folding over on the sides. They're trying to, it's like a game of Jenga to see how much food they can get onto the paper plate without it toppling.
Well, that's why.
And it's the same exact people all the time with no shame whatsoever.
And no intention of buying anything.
None. Well, they didn't even acknowledge the artist that, presumably paid for the spread.
The foragers.
Well, that's why you have the no wet food edict at the beginning. Bring food, make sure it's not heavy and wet, so that it doesn't bend the paper plate. Sausage and peppers is a real problem in the gallery. On the paper plate.
So can you go through some of the highlights of the?
Sure.
Can I just ask quick?
Sure.
How many artists are there?
We have 40 juried artists,
Wow.
as we did last year. 40 competition artists.
Same amount.
Yeah,
Okay.
last year there were 177 applicants for those 40 spots. This year there was 182. International, we have 21 states plus someone from Canada, from Quebec, coming for this year. So we are international now.
Yeah.
And
The book. So we should mention the book.
The book, the
Whoever
program.
financed the book gets kudos because it is really, really nicely done, and each artist gets their own page and their a piece, one of their art, their pieces, and their picture and a little bio. It is just really well done. This is This is worthy of sitting on anyone's coffee table, in my opinion. And are you giving these away, or do you have to buy these?
we are giving them away. It's part of our budget. We do want to make sure that people know who's coming and get a sampling of their work before they come. And it's largely paid for by the ad buyers who are in the book, and also some of our sponsors, our event sponsors. Our major event sponsor this year, as last year, is Applied Materials. They're a presenting sponsor 2 years in a row. We're very grateful to them for that. And then Sotheby's is also a diamond level sponsor this year. Very grateful for them as well. And Lindsay and Beth Coolidge, the Camisel Foundation, all of the sponsors are listed in the program book.
Oh, great. That's great
And
to know.
Cape Ann Savings Bank is a major sponsor for us this year. So, we can't do it without them. And so that's how the financing comes in. So,
I don't think it makes a lot of sense for people to advertise in print, because in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
this
This is an
being a
exception.
major exception.
Yeah.
Because this is like I said, being a coffee table type of book that's not going to get thrown in the trash. This is going to sit on someone's, or like say in a dent, even in a dent. You should distribute these to the dentist office. But literally, I mean, this is the type of this ad is going to be the type of ad, and kudos to the sponsors for figuring this out or being part of this, because it's going to pay dividends for them.
It wasn't an afterthought. The book, we knew right from the beginning that any art event needs to have that visual component, so people can understand that this isn't just a few people exhibiting at a bank. This is a bunch of world-class artists coming to the area, highlighting what a beautiful place we live in, but also, I mean, when they come here, they're celebrating the history of art that's been going on. And for most of the artists who come, they look at this almost like a pilgrimage back to a place where great painters have made great paintings in the early plein air field. As a matter of fact, we did a little bit of research, and it turns out that Cape Ann is probably the birthplace of American plein air painting. Plein air painting first got its start over in France. The Americans went over there, saw what all those impressionist painters were doing, and the important thing about plein air painting that was different from all painting that had been done before was generally people didn't go out into the field and just paint nothing. And by nothing, I mean a field, a seaside scape. It was always allegory. It was important people. It was important buildings. It was a reason that they were painting these.
So it was boats, or like Fitzhenry Lane would paint boats.
Right. And so for the first time, people started actually painting just what they saw in their daily life. It was almost a precursor to the photograph or the snapshot. So when these painters went out into the field and they were doing this thing in France, it was a major movement that was radical. So some of the Americans, a lot of New Englanders and from people from the Northeast went over, learned, and a great portion of them were from the Boston area, and they came up to this area to paint. Winslow Homer lived on 10 Pound Island for an entire year, painting all around. One of the early documented paintings that we saw that we consider a plein air painting is this painting of Singing Beach, actually of Eagle Head. Winslow Homer did that in 1863. He was about, if you pull up on the parking lot and go to the right, about a third of the way down the beach, painting back. It's this beautiful, very immediate, but one of the very first American plein air paintings. And so having a plein air event happen here on Cape Ann is like bringing it home. And so the artists who have studied all these great plein air painters, they're excited to come to a place and basically walk in the footsteps of giants and paint where.
Name a couple of the other giants just the ones that led the way.
Well, Wyeth came down here a lot. In fact, there's Homer obviously was a big one. N.C. Wyeth, his father, who did the terrific maritime paintings, was here a lot. I think Stuart Davis, more contemporarily, started to do everything outdoors. He did wonderful work. He went from representational to a little more impressionistic towards abstract. There's
Passam, Hopper, a lot of ages.
Yeah, Hopper, a lot of ages. Yeah, there's definitely been at a time there, I mean, this was one of the places to go because of the light and the incredible diversity of all the different subject matters. I mean, it's like there are many plein air festivals. I just want to say this is an sidebar for a second, but there are probably 40 plein air events a year, and these plein air painters are extremely competitive. They're like triathletes. They get ready to go to someplace for a week. They stay at someone's house. They paint, and they hope to win money in the prizes. They hope to sell paintings. This is a very competitive group.
Cool.
I mean, this is something that goes on all the time. Like Chuck's point was, why wasn't there one in New England? And that's what got this whole thing started originally. And we're very fortunate because this is the proof in the pudding for us. Is there's always a high number of Cape Ann people in this. And it just shows you that the quality of art here is extremely strong, because last year we had 7 or 8 people from Cape Ann and just beyond, and it just shows you that the talent and the quality is here. And again, the raison d'etre for this whole thing is to bring people up and see it all. But it is an amazing scene. When these people first get together at the North Shore Art Association at the opening night, it's like a reunion night, Everyone's getting together and it's happy to see each other, and there's such energy, and gregarious outgoingness of these people, and then they love talking to, not when they're painting, but when it's time to meet the people, they're great about that. It's a really unique thing, and I think this is doing what Chuck said. It's sort of bringing back some attention and focus to how amazing the painting legacy is here. And we've had people who wrote, I've always wanted to come here, I've never been able to go. And it really established ones. And we're very fortunate because 2 years in a row now, we've increased the numbers. The average plein air event gets about 100, 150 people, and they choose 40. We got 170 last year, 200 this year. So there's a great deal of interest in this, and we've been very fortunate because the names that we get are right at the top. I mean, it's just been spectacular how fortunate we've been in terms of being the draw for the artists, and now we hope that will translate into a draw for more visitors and more buyers.
It's a nice shoulder season event.
Yes, absolutely.
Can't get enough of those nice shoulder
so
season
Sunday,
events.
and it starts on Columbus Day weekend. So the Sunday of Columbus Day weekend is October 8th, and that's when the opening reception is at North Shore Art Association. So all the artists
There's
will
no
be there.
reason to go to the Topsfield Fair and hang around those weird, sketchy carny people. When you could go
We have
to...
choices.
We have... You couldn't get more polar opposite, could you? The carny people... Okay, these are your options for this weekend. You have carny sketchy carny people that may snatch your children and you may never see them again. Or you go to the Cape Ann Plein Air event. Take your pick. Which would you rather do?
I don't know. They have funnel cake, so that kind of.
The German fries.
Oh.
Is there a reason that you limit it to 40?
Yeah, to manage them and to house them too.
Yeah, that's what
we
I was
house
gonna
6 of the 40 are local, so they don't need housing. The others, we've found local housing for them for the whole week, so they're
Oh,
staying
that's
in
great.
wonderful places. And the housing hosts from last year, most of them re-upped for this year.
It's Maggie and Joe Rose. They're always
You know,
something
they-
They got a rotating thing between the
I know.
the Gloucester Stage Company people and the art and the painters.
They're
Yeah.
always
Yeah, it
something.
creates just a nice way for them to embed here, rather than putting them up in hotels or B&Bs.
Yeah.
It's just it's a great way.
I'm glad. That was because that was a question my husband had. It's like, do the artists have to pay to come?
No,
no,
they
that's
don't.
great.
They have to pay to apply for it, and then they pay for their own transportation. But
They should have a Calcutta like they do with the Bluefin Blow Up.
what's
You know what a Calcutta is? Well, they each kick in, they each put in $1,000, and then whoever wins gets the Calcutta
one of the
money.
big prize. Well, we have
All those all the big Marlin tournaments and stuff like that, they have a Calcutta.
That's
great.
It's all,
yeah.
they kick
There
in.
will be an Artist Choice Award given out, and then we have $20,000 in awards and prizes to give out at the end of the week. So they'll
That's
come in on the
tremendous.
Sunday night. They'll start painting right away. They'll paint day and night. The housing hosts, they are all staying in places where they can come and go.
Here's a question.
They want
The question is, I don't remember the right answer. That's why I'm asking it again. But I know we talked about this last year. Do the artists like it if you stand off a little bit? And are there certain ones that invite you to come watch them?
Yeah, some
from
love it.
afar.
Some
And some of them like it.
love it.
Okay, are those?
And some you don't
Is there
see
a
all
map
day.
of or a schedule of people that are saying yes, come check me out, or is there social interaction on Facebook? Is the Facebook page that people?
So
can
if
see?
people go to the Facebook page, what we're asking the artists to do is check in with my wife, Colleen. She's managing the social media, and so we're asking the artists to email her or text her or check in or send a photo or a video, go live, and then she'll upload it. So anybody who wants to see an artist paint, those artists who are
chopped in,
gregarious
Yeah.
and want to be seen. Now, generally, I will say that these artists, if they don't want to be seen, they're painting scenes way off in the distance. I mean, they're not on the main beaten drag, the main beaten path. But the artists, as a rule, generally, they want to engage because they want you to see this painting and fall in love with it and then come buy it at the gala.
Yeah.
So they're pretty open to having conversations, and they're used to. I think there's actually a T-shirt that's going around. Is yes, I am really a painter. Yes, this is how I make my living. So they have a joke about it too because they get the same silly questions all over. And there are no silly questions, but there are silly questions.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Anything in closing?
The gala show.
Well, the gala is the thing to come to. It's at the end of the week. It's on the 14th, Saturday night, at Rockport Art Association. There is a collector's preview from 4:30 to 6 for $150. There's open bar. You get to hear a talk by the awards judge, Mark Hansen, who will be here. And you get your first pick, your first look at all of the work. And then that price, if you go to the collector's preview, it's $150, and you can use that entry fee against a painting. So it's basically a deposit on the painting if you want to buy one.
No
For
brainer.
the gala itself, 6 to 10 that night, same night, at $65 until Friday, the 13th, and then it goes up to $75 or $75 at the door, and you can use $65 against the purchase of a painting. So it's basically a deposit, and we're encouraging sales. It's Vinwood Catering. It's going to be a nice big party like we had last year. We filled the place last year. It was wonderful.
It was a great party.
Each of the artists will be showing 5 of their works from the week all together for awards, and you'll see which ones have won the awards. And then the next day is the quick draw at Essex, which is the community-wide paint-out event. That's at the Essex Shipbuilding Museum from 9 to 3. The painters
It's a shame because there's really not much to paint there.
Just a bunch of old boats.
That's the time of painting. Yeah, that's the town bell will go off at 9 and people will paint, and then at 11 it'll go off again. People have to drop their brushes. It's exactly 2 hours of painting, and then the works get put up and for sale, and there's a party and Daisy Nell's playing, and it'll be food and
Iron
And that
painter,
includes
not iron chef, iron painter.
and that
Very
includes
much like that.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
very much like that,
the 40 artists who are part of the event are all enrolled, and then it's also open to 75 additional artists
Yeah.
who are anyone who wants to apply and be part of it. So it helps to include a group of local wonderful painters who either didn't apply or maybe they didn't get in, but they still want to be part of the event. There's great prizes. First prize in both the Kappa artists and the enrolled artists. It's $500 on each side, so there's good prize money for the quick draw. And the quick draw really is a super fun event. There was one person who came to the quick draw last year, and she brought 2 of her students, and the students were saying, I don't think I can make a painting in 2 hours, the whole painting. And we are pretty strict about it. You can't sketch, you can't do anything beforehand. Your canvas is stamped, so we know you're starting with a blank canvas. And both painters went out, the woman Mary came up to me at the end of the event. She said, "This event was so good for these 2 painters. It's changed the way that they paint.
Wow.
Like they now know that they don't have to sweat it. Sometimes you get caught in your head, and just stop, go on your instincts, and just paint." So anybody who's intimidated by the 2 hours, if you're a good painter, just get in there and try it. It's a lot of fun.
We actually have 6 high school kids who are going to be painting. They're being mentored now to paint under these conditions by some of our local artists, Nancy Legendre and Kathy Coakley and their group, and so they're going to be competing during the quick draw. So, and then the last event of the week is Small Painting Monday at Rockport Art Association. So each of the 40 artists will be submitting a 6x8 painting, a tiny painting, for the last sale day, the last day of the event.
So if you say you're just an average person and you want to go with your family, and you don't want to spend $65 per person,
you can just go the next day,
you
Sunday
can
and
go
Monday.
Sunday, Monday,
Rockport will be open.
A family can just go.
Absolutely,
in and
it's
visit.
free.
It's
And you can
great
also
show.
go. There's a demo a day at noontime every day. The schedule is on our website. Oliver Capan, a professional artist, is doing a demo from noon to 1 each of the days, Monday through Friday of that week. So,
And so anybody who wants to either just see how it's done and ask all those questions without feeling silly or like they're intruding, the demo days, every single day, we have incredible artists
who are good teachers. Too.
incredible teachers. So those are open, they're free to anybody who wants to come to those. And it's really just, it's breaking it down, it's demystifying and, showing people, look, this is how it's done. Yes, we're quick. yes, we get it done in the open air, but it's all about preparation, and here's our method. So it's a lot of fun.
You can milk them for all that information.
Oh, well, some people like David Curtis, local artist David Curtis, gives an amazing presentation because he'll paint something, he'll turn to the audience and say, and I'm thinking about this and that, and this is how I'm going to set up the composition of the painting, this is the color, I've got this issue with the light right now that's about to go away. The clarity into his thinking and the creative process is phenomenal. I mean, it's spellbinding listening to a guy like David talk about what goes into a painting. And again, the amazing thing is you start with a blank canvas at 12 o'clock, and at 1 o'clock there's a gorgeous painting there, and you understood every step of the way. It's really, try to get to one of those if you can, because it is so amazing, just seeing that, the creative process so close and so personal. It's a great experience.
That sounds really interesting.
It is, yeah. It's
All right,
amazing
the
show.
Facebook page, and we have links. Cape Ann Plein Air Festival. Thanks to, are you planning on going to any of these things?
Yeah, well, I went to the gala the preview party the other night.
I warned you.
Yeah, and that was beautiful. Karen Hansen did a beautiful. She was a wonderful hostess. It was a fabulous party.
They're a great couple, huh?
Yeah, very.
I love that Warren moved here.
Yeah.
He's all around town.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those
How long
great addition to our community.
It was
How long
fun
ago
having
did they
Stefania
move
there. The
she
mayor was there.
Yeah, so I took a lot of photos, but she sent me all her photos, so I posted her photos.
I don't know when you left, but she actually got in the kitchen and started cooking
Cooking in Gloucester.
Dinner for
I saw the apron. I thought maybe that
Doesn't
was the case.
surprise me.
There was some garlic that was being used,
little bit.
devastated
Wow, that's
in that kitchen that evening.
It's a fun night.
Well, thank you guys for coming
Thank
in.
you, Joey. Thank
been a
you,
lot of
Kim.
fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
It's
Yeah.
our joy to have you guys.
All right, that was very exciting, wasn't
No,
it?
I thought
Yeah.
it was a great.
Oh,
You're so fun.
No, I thought it was really interesting. I loved all the background that Jim provided as well about how we're, sort of the, originators of plein air. I mean, they might say that in other communities too.
yeah.
but-
No, this event legit is,
Yeah.
and I love it's just spread out.
Yeah,
So you get
it's-
all these different things happening. Very dynamic.
Yeah.
We have Ken Hecht here.
Yeah.
One of my favorite additions, along with Warren. Geez, we get a lot of good people coming here, don't we?
Yeah, that's true.
Ken Hecht, he is a doer.
Yeah.
He is an innovator. He's a thinker. But he's a but you know what? I love Ken because he's a businessman, and he is common sense businessman with a love and passion for the city. You're running for Ward 2,
Ward
Yes.
two, okay.
the seat that will be vacated by Melissa Cox.
That's right.
Melissa Cox running for at large,
Right.
so you can't run for both, I
No.
guess. But Ken, a guy that has so much going on, why would you want to do this?
Well, thank you. I fell for Gloucester like your first girlfriend, your first boyfriend. I mean, ton of bricks. And although we've only been here 4 years, when we rehabbed the bank building on Main Street, the one
Where
with
Blue
Trident-
Nile is.
Yeah, blue collar. I mean, blue collar. We still have officers. Where Blue River Diamonds,
Blue River
and Trident
Diamonds, sorry, yeah.
Gallery is. We met a ton of people, and it was just the community here. I've never lived in a community that has such passion and such a mission. Not even close.
Yeah.
And I just, I got swept up in it. And there's things that can be done. There's things that can be improved. And at the point in my life, I've always been, I was in scouting for 10 years, and I was, in a fraternity in college. I didn't even know what a fraternity was. And, I was a coach for 13 years. And it's this time in my life, this is the place to give back now. You know what I'm saying? My kids are 29 and 26. I can't go home and watch CNN every night for 4 hours. And it's just exciting for me, but it's all about getting things done.
Yeah. Always, from the first time I met you, I think it was at Stones.
I think so. I remember you talking about him right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you invited me up to see your place, what you were doing there, and did such a beautiful renovation to that building, that long-standing derelict building.
Right.
Brought it back to life. Now it's a piece of downtown that people can be
gorgeous.
people can be proud of.
Right.
The
It's
money
very-
pit.
it's
Money
very-
goes in, it never comes out.
But it's very noteworthy what a beautiful job it is.
Thank you.
It's because it's very distinctively, beautifully done.
What I love,
No shortcuts.
You know what I love about
No shortcuts.
what I like when there are successful business people that go for these type of jobs, is that sometimes, and I'm not, this is not directed at any person or politician, but I feel that as a business person, sometimes there is legislation or rules put into place with a stroke of a pen that can greatly impact business. That if someone hasn't had these struggles of running a small business before, they may, but they're a well-intentioned counselor or a politician, but they don't know what these businesses are up against, and can just lend a little bit of reason to the argument that with practical real-world dollars that they have invested and see what works, what doesn't work. It's just a wealth of knowledge that you're bringing to the table that, I think is one. There's compassion, and then that's a skill set, right? But then there is, real world knowledge, and Ken has that in spades.
Right.
We
Nuts
call
and
them
bolts.
scars on our back. You
Yeah.
learn, and you get crushed here and there, and you learn, and you do it differently next time, and you talk to a bunch of people, read a bunch of books, try and get ahead of it, and sometimes you still get run over by a beer truck. I mean, it's just the way it is. But, you keep at it for long enough that enough of them are successful, and and you apply that. The people who go through things sometimes that only go through it once, like they're developing their own home or they're doing something in real estate, which I'm in, and I feel like, oh my God, wasn't that horrible? All the things that went wrong, and it's kind of wasted because they won't do another one.
But yeah,
It's all done. The education doesn't get to be applied to the next situation, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's interesting. So, phrases like "run over by a beer truck" and "scars on your back" are those Southside Chicago expressions?
Well, I do have some expressions from the Midwest that people still look at me like, what does that mean? And it's just common. It's just common language.
Yeah, and it's common sense in a way.
Yeah, it's all common sense stuff.
But
Yeah.
but run over by a beer truck, that sounds like something from late 1800s, early 1900s. The way they. Anyways, that was interesting.
Well, that was always the preferred way to go. When you finally kick the bucket, run over by a beer truck.
Beer truck, I get it.
I can think of a better way. Ken, what do you think is some of the low-hanging fruit that you like that if you were elected to the city council that you would look to change or do better or something like that?
Well, I've been out knocking on a ton of doors, so in all the different neighborhoods, they all have their different things. Like at the Fort, it's parking, and then the third thing is parking. And then up at Portage Hill, it's streets and sidewalks, and there's real and snowplow, and there's just real world things that are like, oh, all right, I'm equipped to equipped to handle these kinds of things. That's what I do, in my life.
Interesting.
And then one of the things that I'd like to do, and it's maybe not as low hanging, is to have the city council have clearer rules. A lot of things that come before the city council are like, oh, I want to expand my deck by 2 feet, or stuff that people need permission to do. And I'd like to clarify sort of the zoning and regulations so that we can cut down on the amount of time people have to go and present to some, either planning board, which I'm on now, or the city council, so that both, the planning board and the city council in particular have more time to think, to have more vision time. Because if all your time gets squeezed out and you're spending 100% of your time in a reactive mode, you don't have any proactive time. You don't have any time to
That's
really think of, what are our goals this year for the city council? What is our goal as a city council? What are we going to do this year, as opposed to react to this year?
Right.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it's not low-lying fruit. I mean, lower-lying fruit is at Burnham's Field. I'm working right now to secure $35,000 of funding with John and Aria,
McElhenny.
right? Who are the friends of Burnham's Field. They've done a fantastic job. And in talking to them, I said, well, what's the next thing? The Burners Field's looking really good. What do you guys need? And they're like, security cameras. I'm like, cool, let's get into it. So turns out that one of our tenants in Peabody is the provider of the security cameras for all of the city of Gloucester. And I found out this is at a party. And so I'm putting all this together going, oh my God, I got the vendor who does the Gloucester stuff. They are Gloucester residents. I got the police involved, John and Aria. Aria turns out to be a grant writer. Spike the football. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, really? You're a grant writer? Oh my God.
This is the second weekend on the podcast her name has come up in her capacity as a grant writer for the backyard growers.
Right, yeah.
Farmers market.
And the farmers market.
Farmers market.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's a project that is like, there's a need in the community. We want, Burnham's Field's come a long way, but there's still stuff going on over there that, we got kids and we don't want that happening around our kids, that's going on. So with the security system, so Aria is in the process of researching the grants, and then hopefully, it's $35,000. It's not cheap, but there's a lot of money out there, I hope, for this kind of thing. The other one that's really fun, low-lying fruit in a way, is the mosaic that's going to happen on the Americold building across from Walgreens on Rogers. So I've been involved in that since the very beginning. Martha Wood has done a great job of riding herd on that. But it's going to be a great big mosaic on this 220-foot long ugly building across from Walgreens and Dunkin' Donuts to show off we're art. We're happening.
And that was Leslie Davison was part of that too.
Yes,
I remember her
exactly.
name last weekend.
Yeah, she's the mosaic tile expert.
Well, she came to the podcast, right? She was on a podcast
Yeah.
about a month ago.
So those are a couple things, and the lower lying fruit one. We've got our wall at the back of our building. It's the bank building, and Angela Sanfilippo's banner's up there right now.
Yeah, I
So
saw
that wall is available for all nonprofits and people that just want to
that's great.
do things. And so it's a wall that, as opposed to painting it, we thought, well, why don't we just allow people to put different banners up so that it can be like
interchangeable.
interchangeable.
Because once it's a painting, then everybody becomes very attached to it, and then that's forever.
It's pretty much there for everybody.
Forever.
So you can switch it up,
Right.
and people can do a 30-day, without going through all kind of permitting. 30 days, boom, you can get it. You can get it done and just put it up.
Fine.
So it's free. We don't charge anything for it. I mean, they got to do their own banner and put it up there. But it's those kinds of things that there's all these little things that accumulate and move the needle.
Yeah.
So it's really, and there's big things. There's the Fuller School. There's pot. What are we going to do? There's medical marijuana. There's recreational marijuana. There is no shortage of opinions on that. And that's an onion you keep pulling back and you keep learning. You're like, whoa.
Right.
There's a lot to it.
Isn't it interesting? I think it was Middleton. They voted for pot, but then they just voted not to have any stores that sell it or have the paraphernalia and stuff.
I was speaking with
complicated.
a police officer. I'm not going to say which police officer or even what department. It wasn't even a Gloucester police officer, but he said that there was this when the marijuana law that it was legalized by the state or whatever. That he's like, they passed this thing. As a police officer, I have absolutely no way. There's no mechanism for me to cite anyone or to enforce anything or for them to ever have any kind of crime associated. Like they could be stoned off of their gourd.
Right, kill 20 people on the highway or whatever. And
there is, I don't want to raise the ire of the pot smoking thing. The point is, like,
they knew this was coming for like 5 or 10 years. All of the legislatures knew this was coming. They couldn't keep it from not happening. So did they put anything in place? No. Nothing's been, no.
So they have to work.
Well, they're working on putting in place now by the middle of next summer, basically. So as a member of the planning board, we voted a recommendation to the city council to have a moratorium until the end of 2018. Which I think is the right thing to do, because there's 100 things. How are we going to tell someone's had too much marijuana? Edibles. To me, edibles are like really scary because they got gummy bears that have like, I mean, if you look at it like there's there's a Bud Light, and then there's Everclear. There's like really powerful stuff, and then there's light beer.
How is it
equivalent.
monitored? How is it regulated?
Well, it's all grams of this and grams of that, and a gummy bear might have like 4 times as much THC in it as like a dose that an adult might use to go have a good time. It's just, and it's a gummy bear. I mean, so there's 100 of these things. I'm so glad that we are slowing this whole thing down.
Yeah.
Because no matter what side of this you're on, and there's a lot of, for, against, a little more, and just the way it is, I think it's really got to be done intelligently. And we're lucky that there's other states that have already stuck their toe in the water, and we can learn something. Like, let's get ahead of it. Let's study, and let's make some wise decisions. So it's a big issue that really needs to be studied. I'm glad it's being slowed down. Really am.
Where is it? I don't want to get political here.
Right.
I don't want to talk about projects necessarily, even though I want to find out. Anyway, I just wanted I wanted you to come in because as friends, we're very friendly with Melissa Cox as well, and I think that Ward 2 is the most important ward, and it's nice to have
It affects
good, rational people with a passion for Gloucester first.
It's the heart of the city.
It really is the heart of the city.
It's the heart. I mean, it's
no question.
everything. It's just happening, and there's so much going on, and most of the things that happen in the city are in Ward 2. Not all of them, but I mean, I'm not talking about a subdivision or something. I'm talking about like something like, wow, we've got to decide this, and we've got to have, we got to understand the mission, the financing, who's for, who's against, why.
What's realistic, what isn't.
Exactly. And but still always moving forward and moving the needle. That's the thing, is you just got to keep moving the needle. You just got to keep pushing it.
Yeah.
The rock goes up the hill. You got to push,
There you go. Well, thank you, Ken. You can stick around if you want. We have a few more topics we're going to talk about. Totally up to you. You got a few minutes?
Yeah, I do,
All right,
actually.
great.
I'm learning so much. The Plein Air thing was incredible.
Oh, it's
I know.
beautiful.
That's why I love the podcast. Because
Yeah.
we just meet so many people.
I know, it is
It's
fantastic.
really
Trails and sales events still going on, right?
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Is it going on through today?
Yes, through today. And I'm sorry, I don't know much more about it, especially in light of what our last topic is.
Feather and Wedge is doing. We'll go right on over that. Feather and Wedge in Rockport doing their brunch, and we had dinner there the other night. It was spot on. They're doing Sunday brunch, and with bringing back the Bloody Mary bar. Make your own Bloody Marys.
Oh, what fun! Wow.
You give me a make your own Bloody Mary bar,
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Oh yeah.
It is a make your own Bloody Mary bar on a Sunday morning is a nice thing.
Do you make them super spicy?
I do like them spicy. I like them almost thick, like it's a meal. I like olives in it. I like bacon in it. Right?
It's an appetizer, at least.
Absolutely.
At least.
Yeah, like pepper, Tabasco. I don't understand this though. What's the idea behind this celery stalk other than to stir it up?
I love celery in it.
Yeah,
I
what does
love
it
celery.
do? Is it flavoring celery?
It's a stir, but it also the celery kind of takes on the flavor of the Bloody Mary.
Okay.
Celery's so neutral, you know what I mean? That's why I love celery in Bloody Marys. I would not put bacon in celery.
Yeah.
Wouldn't?
No, I never heard
What
of
is
bacon
wrong with you people?
in the Bloody Mary.
You've never heard of that?
No, I
You're not
haven't.
living.
Oh,
Well,
gotta go.
not
because
living.
I don't
Incredible.
As a cardiac nurse, I don't eat a lot of bacon.
Karen wants non-GMO. Yeah. What do you
Fresh plants,
fresh plants? No.
lots of celery.
So there's that. Oh, going along with the Trails and Sales event. One of them, Catherine took a photo of Duncan Street. Did you know? Duncan. I think I have Duncan Street right where Divas is,
Yeah, okay.
and where the thrift shop, the woman,
Dress code.
Yeah.
the dress code. That's Duncan, right?
Well,
Oh, Duncan is where
Duncan is
Happy
really-
Belly.
Oh, is Duncan where Happy Belly is?
Yeah.
Is that Porter then?
no. Well, it's the pedestrian street. You mean?
Yeah, it's the alley, like
The alley. Like, I don't really know what the alley's called, to tell you.
They
You
close
mean
Might
with
be
the
Porter.
fishnet painting?
Yeah, the fish.
where the
net.
fishnet painting is.
Hang on.
But now they have on the wall there, on the brick
Right.
wall, there's a couple murals there. There's one of the fisherman statue,
Right.
and then there's another one, and I don't know who did it, and I
Kids.
haven't noticed it
Kids
yet
did it.
until this photo. What?
Kids.
Beautiful.
I think it was like teenage.
Art Haven?
kids.
Art Haven
Maybe
deal?
Art Haven.
That was part of
But it was
the-
youngins doing that. I was really psyched to see
Wow.
that. They did a great job.
Well,
And did Catherine do a post on it? Is
She,
it on
it
there?
was within her Trails and Sales post.
Oh,
I
okay.
saw this photo.
Okay.
I wanted to give a shout out because it's a really cool.
Beautiful.
They made this really kind of weed infested, kind of trash strewn alleyway.
Okay, yeah.
From that, before they did the fishnet thing and the murals, into this really lovely walkway down to the waterfront.
Right,
You know,
which
and,
is, I think that was all part of the
Harbor Walk kind of
right,
thing.
Right.
Yeah, actually,
The
it leads
original
down to a
one.
lot of the gardens that you
Right.
were responsible
Yeah, that I was responsible for.
for. Dun dun dun. Okay.
No, but I just don't want people to think I'm still taking care of them.
Oh right, it's
Yeah.
not on your watch.
It's not on my watch what's
Okay.
happening there.
All right. Well, anyway, kudos to it's probably Art Haven. If I'm not correct, someone can give us the right name. Shout out to Thomas Philbrook from Rockport, who every change of the seasons sends us the wonderful
I love
images of the photoshopped,
This one plants, fall
scenes,
plants.
and
Yeah.
and
beautiful.
every time it's the fall and spring solstice and
It's
Summer
the
solstice.
vernal equinox.
Vernal equinox.
And the summer solstice, and then the
Spring.
autumnal equinox, which is what we just had, the autumnal equinox.
yeah. Well,
And
thank you,
there's- and then
Tom.
there's a winter solstice. So I think it goes winter solstice, spring equinox, summer solstice, and then vernal equinox.
Autumnal.
Autumnal equinox.
Autumnal.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, his post, every time he sends us these things, and we post them, they get a lot of play. People
they?
really look
Yeah.
forward to them, and he's been doing it since like the start of the blog.
He's so creative.
He's very creative up in Rockport. Speaking of Rockport, Toad Hall closing October 1st,
Yeah, very
Very
sad.
sad.
leaving
Big
a
loss.
void in the town of Rockport. Thank
Yeah.
goodness for our Gloucester, the bookstore of Gloucester,
Bookstore of Gloucester.
still holding it down.
Yeah, and then Old Town, what is it, Dogtown Bookshop?
Yeah, Dogtown
David-
Dogtown.
David
Stocktown
Cox.
Bookshop is
David Cox, right?
doesn't really have new
No,
books
not
though,
David
right?
Cox.
Yeah, I think it's vintage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bob Ritchie.
Right, right.
Bob Ritchie has the
Yeah.
Stocktown Bookstore.
I think what's very sad about Toad Hall, they've been so supportive with so many authors, but not only that, they've given over $100,000 in projects, in ecology-based projects over the years, because it was a nonprofit. It was been run as a nonprofit, so, and it's most likely they already have offers on it. They're close. They've already. I think it's going
It's
to
going to be a single family home or something.
might be a single family, but it's got it's got an apartment where you could have a business, has a beautiful deck that overlooks, beautiful terrace that overlooks the harbor. So
That building is a
it's
really
just
cool
a
building.
gem. It's really
Is that is the whole face made out of granite or is it molded concrete?
it's granite.
It is?
It's pure granite.
Wow.
I mean, it was a granite savings bank.
Okay.
Yeah, before it was Toad Hall. So I think it became Toad Hall in the 70s. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Funky space too. You like you go up the spiral
Spiral
staircases and everything.
staircase, yeah.
Have you ever been in there,
I've
Ken?
not been in. I've been by a million times.
You know,
But
before,
wanna go in?
but just
Oh, yeah,
before it
yeah.
closes, you ought to just take
yeah,
a walk through
I
there.
think that's a great idea. Somebody's going to do a rehab of that, and they're going to live, and
Right.
they're going to have an impact on history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a piece of history that someone's going to buy
Yeah.
and hopefully do a great job with. You know?
Yeah, and I hope that they, wouldn't it be nice if it could stay a retail space? But, I heard people complaining that, that there's, Rockport is losing a lot of retail space, but I think you need a lot of people living downtown to support whatever retail's there.
That's
you have
absolutely right.
Right, you have to find the balance there because, you need people living
You need to get
downtown.
something straight. No matter what happens in certain communities, there's going to be people that are going to bitch. That's just part of the gig. But like the paint factory, there was someone that was going to take that space over, and they were going to maintain the whole facade
Whole thing,
and the paint
right.
and the lettering on the front of it, and it was going to be paid with for private dollars and stuff like that,
And be to taxpayers.
and people were going to pay taxes on it. So, you know, there's something to be said for people that have money to, and that can, hopefully the people that get Toad Hall, they keep the, you know, the facade very similar and stuff like that. I'd be
I think in
surprised if they
Rockport,
didn't.
I think in downtown Rockport, it's part of the preservation.
Kim, you wanted to speak about the Manship Artist Residency and Studio, Mars. Want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think it's very exciting. Folks have been working on this for a couple of years, and there's so Paul Manship was a sculptor who did Prometheus at Rockefeller Center. You can see some of his works at Cape Ann Museum. The Tortoise. There's a store.
Prometheus is the famous one in the World Trade, not World Trade Center, Rockefeller Center.
Rockefeller
the
Center.
big gold,
Yes.
holding the globe over his head.
Yeah, he was a fantastic and very famous for his Art Deco. He during the 30s he worked in that style, but he also incorporated more naturalistic things as well. And then in 1943, after I think they spent 1 year here, he and his wife, they bought 14 acres over in Lanesville, and there's 2 quarries there, and then they also had buildings moved there, so they bought a building in Pigeon Cove and had that moved there, bought a barn. So it's this beautiful, beautiful space, and it was also a place where people, during the heyday of his career, they had parties there. Richard Recchia, I'm a huge fan of Richard Recchia. He was another sculptor working in the area at the time. Virginia Lee Burton and all those people. It was just really, it was just a very heady time, I think, for the art science. And so anyways.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Lanesville.
Right.
Think about all the, I mean, this is a big time. Like
Yeah.
Virginia Lee Burton,
Walker Hancock
all
has
these,
a studio there.
like in Lanesville. It's like there's nothing. I mean, it's just
Well, I think that's why they chose it there. Well, first of all,
more like a retreat to be able to create.
They're sculptors, so you think of all the granite that's just, the abandoned quarries and stuff like that. So there's tons and tons of granite to work with. Like, they probably just have to, walk around their property and find a chunk of granite. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I'm just imagining that. But it was so beautiful and so remote and so quiet. Like, sculptors need big spaces to work in. They don't, especially when they're doing big monumental pieces and stuff like that. So, I don't know, I think it's really... It's just so it's beautiful there. Very so naturalistic and untouched, and his house is called Starfield because it was so dark. You could see the night sky easily from his property. So, anyways, his kids inherited the property, and then they've sold it to this group for a very, very reasonable price, $650,000 for 14 acres, garden, barn, quarries is,
nothing.
Is nothing. So I think their generosity, this has really been, and so then the group raised the $650,000.
The donors and the generosity of the children,
the heirs,
making this possible.
Yeah.
It's a gift. So what do they plan to do with the space now?
Well, I think one thing that's great about it, like the T.S. Eliot place, they are going to be having contemporary artists work there. So it's going to be an artist in residency program, basically, which will be, tremendous for, it's not just a celebration or a monument to a dead person's work.
It's like a haven. This whole area is like a haven for these artists to come, like the residencies on Rocky Neck, this place, the
T.S. Eliot House.
The T.S. Eliot House. Now we have the Plein event where these artists are being housed so that they can share. It's like this big.
And the Gloucester Writer Center has people come in residency
they
there
have residency
too.
programs.
They stay there. They live
Some
there.
people do, yeah.
they're housed because they can't stay there.
No,
right?
they actually, some of them do stay there.
Oh, really?
It's a small house, you
Oh.
know, but it's a fully
fully
furnished and
equipped.
equipped, yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
But there's also John and Margaret Manship, and Margaret's sculpture is at the Addison Gilbert Hospital, the Madonna and Child.
Okay, so
They're
those are
both
the heirs
sculptors.
of Paul Manship, and they're the ones who made it possible for this very generous allowing of only paying $650,000.
They've both passed. John and Margaret both passed.
Yes.
And then, are they going to have some museum aspect of it with some of their work? Do you know?
You know, I don't know that, but I'm sure they will. You know, why wouldn't they?
Amazing.
I bet you Catherine will know.
Yeah, I wish they
I asked
would.
Catherine to come in.
Oh, yeah?
She blew us off.
Busy day with the boys.
Oh, she's got two boys.
I know. That would be like you asking me to come in here yesterday when I had my day off and I'm going to go watch my daughters play soccer. It's just not going to happen. I like to put pressure on Catherine because she think, she knows I'm joking, but
Yeah. So
it
John,
would have been nice to have her there here though,
Yeah, and
even though she chose not to come.
yes, yeah. I don't know what to say. She's busy with her family.
Yeah. Priorities,
Yes.
not with the blog.
Not today, at least. Not this week.
Anyway, Backyard Grow is Growdown Tuesday at Shorten, Maine.
Oh my God, you're
short
gonna get us
name.
in so much trouble.
Can't help
You
myself.
can't help yourself. That's right.
Backyard Growdown. What is a Growdown? What is that all about?
Like a throwdown, but a growdown. So it's just a fun name, I think. It's just celebrating. It's a benefit. You pay $60. I think the tickets are either $65 or $75, but that covers dinner and dancing.
Part of the proceeds are going to Backyard Growers?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So
They never have any fundraising.
no, they're really good at it.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, but they do so much. I mean,
They do.
It's a great when you
program.
read what they're doing, like every single day, they're posting pictures and of activities that
Outreach
they're
with
doing with
the
the
children.
children. It's just what I really think that. Like when we first moved here, I haven't never really shared this with you, but when we first moved here, I volunteered in Alex's school, and I did a lot of reading with kids and did projects with them and things like that. And I usually volunteered in the morning, and it broke my heart because most of the kids were not eating breakfast, let alone half the kids who ate breakfast at home had enough energy to get through to snack time or lunchtime. The kids who were not eating breakfast or who were
Cooked.
eating some schmaltzy thing for breakfast, whatever it was, they couldn't concentrate. By 9:30, 10 o'clock, they were begging to have their snack. They were literally begging to have their snack. It was just like, it was so horrible. And maybe Laura experienced something like that or something, but whatever, she has made good nutritious food such a part of the community's dialogue, and she started with the kids, and I just
Great place to start.
This is in real life terms. When I was a kid, we didn't recycle. There was no recycling. There wasn't recycling. No, I mean, at least in my house, there wasn't recycling. I'm 50 years old. And we got old. As you get older. Now, Kate, my wife she's 13 years younger than me. So
she's totally into
she if I throw one shred of paper into the trash instead of the recycling, she will get off the couch, walk across the room, take it out and put it in the thing and scold me.
That's me too.
And so that's a different level, right? Because 13 years later, this is something that they grew up with. And it's because of programs like the Backyard Growers or whatever that type of educational, and now my children and kids their age, they automatically do it You know, it's just part of their life. They don't think any other way, and they look at like anybody that wouldn't do it, like you're a monster. You're a filthy monster. Like, how could you not do that? How could you do that to our environment? There's so much more awareness of our environment today, more than any other time, and it's a great thing, and it's because of these type of things, right?
Yeah, it's tremendous.
So even though we kid about how much fundraising they do, it's a totally worthwhile organization. Yeah.
I think it's one of the key, I think it's like there's keystone species in nature. I think they're like a keystone species of Gloucester.
I think they're
or
great.
Keystone, you
Yeah.
know.
And that's why they keep winning grants too.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they have Aria McElhenny in their
Yes.
corner.
I'm
They could be.
I'm seriously calling Aria this week.
They could be
Right.
doing cool. They could be, some. They could be selling ice to Eskimos, and Aria McElhenny, being the great grant writer that she is, would get a grant for that.
I meant to
She's
call
a
her out
monster
the last
grant
Are
writer.
you gonna put a link to Aria's business on the?
I don't know that she has a business
You
page.
should, or her Facebook page or something.
I'll just put. I'm going to put Aria McElhenny is a monster grant writer.
Grant writer.
All right,
That's
that's in the show notes now. As everybody hears my clicking.
Okay,
Monster.
we'll just keep on talking, right?
That's all right. I think everybody's entertained by my.
Typing? By your typing?
Anyway.
Well, let's talk about this honey for a minute. Is one of these jars mine?
One of those is for you.
I've been wanting to get one of those.
Dan Allen. That is Way Road Honey.
Love the label.
Oh my gosh, it's so
You have to
fabulous.
show that
Peace,
label.
love, and honey. Oh, we'll put that in there as well. Kim, talk about Dan Allen.
Okay, so Dan Allen has a beautiful home and garden up on Way Road, and a couple months ago he dropped off 3 jars of honey. I gave one to Joey, and now Joey's totally addicted to it,
Yep.
as am I, and I had run out, and so Joey got 2 jars, one for me. I'm so
I got one for
excited.
you. Yes, I did.
It's the best honey
It's
in
the
the
best honey. And you taught me to put it in my coffee, so I put it in my coffee. And I used less artificial sweetener and more honey.
and more honey, and it'll help you with cold season. It'll help because it's local.
Allergies.
Right.
Cold
Allergies,
season, you mean allergies,
Yeah,
right?
cold season and allergies, because it gives you local antibodies,
Immune boosting.
immune boosting qualities.
I love it.
And
But he's not in the store yet, is he? Because I wanted to get some.
is he in a store?
I don't
No, he'll just come and deliver it to you. Did he? He came
Well,
to the dock, right?
he came. It was when we had the storm, and he put it in my mail slot.
Okay.
I reached out to him to pay him, but he has not reached out back to me. So I want to pay him because I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of him. So I just have to.
Well, then we'll
Track him down.
We'll talk about it for the next couple weeks.
We'll talk about it all the time. We'll just put Dan Allen, Peace, Love, and Honey. Well, we did put it. We stickied it to the top of the page with the podcast a couple weeks ago, and the podcast. You forgot to take the photo of the group for the podcast.
Oh,
so I just put the picture of his
okay,
his
good.
honey on there.
Okay, good.
So that ought to be.
And also the honey label was designed by his daughter, his
Which I love.
13-year-old daughter.
It's
Yeah.
really cool.
That's fantastic.
You could easily have that at the local stores like Willow Rest and Keep You Fresh that carry local products.
Yes, he should have it there, shouldn't he? Yeah.
Common Crow.
Yes.
Common Crow.
Why did you hesitate when I said Common Crow? You don't like Common Crow?
No. I just know that.
I would think that Common Crow is right in your wheelhouse with all the holistic stuff.
Well,
Doesn't that kind of go hand in hand with your whole thing? No?
some of it, yes.
Peace,
And
love,
certainly
and
the
Common
organic food. I love the organic food there, but they have local growers. But I don't know if they do the same thing like Willow Rest and Keep You Fresh, where they have local merchants
Yeah,
bring their wares in there.
Interesting.
Oh.
I don't know.
I feel like you're taking a shot at Common Crow.
No, not at all.
I've seen, in their honey department, I've seen Essex honey and Maitland Mountain Farms
Do you know
pickles.
if Ken Duckworth does that? Do they still do the honey?
I don't know that.
Like their own for the restaurant?
Well, he used to. They had
bees.
hives.
Yeah,
they had
the
bees.
bees weren't the bees up at Jonathan Mandy's house?
They're up behind Sacred Cod. The building
Yeah,
that was
that's
Sacred.
Jonathan Mandy's
Oh,
house. Yeah,
and
they-
Pilar.
Yeah, Pilar. Yeah.
That's who owns that. That's who owns that house.
Yes.
They did-
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a nice little
Yeah.
house.
Oh, that house is amazing.
Great location.
Yeah, it's got all these different levels and layers.
East
and,
Gloucester Power Corridor.
yeah. And Joff is a fabulous cabinet maker and builder, and his kitchen is so charming. It's just beautiful.
You should do a little video walkthrough of his kitchen.
Oh, that's a sweet idea.
I mean, if he's a cabinet builder, then you could give him a shout out.
Well, he really. Maybe I'll do that on their boat, on their Strombus boat that he just built, because that's what he really wants to do, is build cabinets for boats and things like that. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what he does. I mean, he was the lead shipwright for the Adventure for a while.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting.
So, yeah, and he was restoring a schooner, Strombus, and then they put it on hold, when their kids were little and all that kind of stuff. And then recently, this summer, they launched their schooner. Beautiful.
Strombus.
Yeah, Strombus is the name.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
The Kestrel Naturalist meetup. Karen wanted to mention this. I have no idea what it's all about, but go ahead.
So Jessica at the Kestrel Education Center, she started a meetup with Amy, the KPN area naturalists, and I went on their meetup walk yesterday. Jimmy T actually told me about it because they were going mushrooming, and Jimmy T is part of the mycology society that they have at MIT, I think it is. So he goes out identifying, and you have to be careful when you go mushrooming,
Right.
that you know what you're doing, because you can't just go out and pick up mushrooms in the woods. Because of all the rain we had, there was tons of mushrooms. So there was about 10 people that went on this walk, and they went out by the Babson Museum on the way to Rockport, that little historic museum that's there.
That is a great location for wildlife there.
It's amazing.
fantastic.
And I had never gone walking there, so I would have gotten lost in the woods. It was pretty overgrown and swampy, but we saw a lot of wildlife. We saw frogs in the pond and the little salamanders. And at the end of the day, they found these beautiful chicken of the wood mushrooms, bright orange on a log. I haven't eaten it yet, but I did get a sample. So I'll let you know. You'll find out if I'm still alive next week.
Are you crazy?
No. But
Are you a crazy person?
What's the name?
That could kill you, and you're gonna eat it?
No, well, these are safe. Hen of the woods and chicken of the woods. Sometimes you can find them in the stores. They're very expensive.
Which are the ones that are red with the white polka dots? Do you know what those are
I
called?
don't know those.
I'm sure you've seen in cartoons
Fairy
and
tale
illustrations.
books.
Right. You see red with white polka dots.
Yeah.
They really are mushrooms, red with white polka dots.
But
I've
sometimes
seen
there's
them at
lookalikes, so
Yes. Yeah,
so you do have to be
really
careful.
know.
Like we probably had hen of the woods, which looks like coral growing in our backyard, and I wouldn't have known that except that I went to Willarest and she was selling hen of the woods that somebody had brought her. They were delicious.
Yeah.
Burlington, Vermont is a restaurant next to Hotel Vermont where we stay when we go there. It's called Hen of the Woods.
Oh.
And it is award-winning.
Nice.
I wouldn't have known it. But I'm a big TripAdvisor guy.
Yeah.
And it got this ridiculous reviews, and we just happened to luck out because it was right next to our cool hotel. And I highly recommend Hen of the Woods. Speaking of restaurants that are north of here.
Back to the Kestrel. They're doing a
yes.
social meetup tomorrow, Monday, from 5 to 6:30, right at the Kestrel Adventure Center on Main Street, 187 Main Street.
Great.
Is that across from the police station?
Yes.
Okay. 187 Main Street. All right, fantastic. You didn't do a post about this.
I didn't. No.
Okay. Because then I could link to it and all the information would be there. But I guess
I didn't think about it till I got here.
that's all right.
I can send it to you.
You don't have to. No, I would prefer you post it than send it to me because then I have to do the shit.
Okay.
That's why I asked you 3 times. Did you do a post about it?
Oh,
She's not
okay.
picking up on it.
Oh,
apparently.
you want me to post it? Is that what you're saying?
You don't
Okay.
have to post it, but if you wanted to, if it was your topic and you were interested about it, perhaps you could post about it, and then I could link to it,
Okay.
rather than me having to figure out all the shit that I don't know anything about and make it up as I go along. What do you think? You think that's a good idea?
I think I'll talk to
it's a good
Jessica.
idea. Huh?
I think I'll talk to Jessica and have her write the post.
Huh?
I'll talk to Jessica. That's her. It's her.
Jessica
place.
Kate.
Yeah.
How do you say her last name? Kate?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Jessica.
I should know. They're both.
What is Kestrel Foundation? What are the tenets of the Kestrel? What is the idea behind the Kestrel?
The mission.
Yeah.
The
Is it
mission-
for profit? Is it a business?
No, they're a
No.
nonprofit.
They're a nonprofit, and their mission is they have the Get Outdoors Center on Main Street, and their whole focus is getting kids to engage in nature and get outside.
And now adults too.
And
There's this whole
adults,
adult
yeah.
portion of it.
So,
Well, they can have if they're nonprofit, they can post directly on capebandcommunity.com.
I'll let Jessica
So-
know. Yeah, that's a great idea.
They maybe, you know what, I may have already granted them, and maybe they're not taking
Taking
enough
advantage of it,
advantage
yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
I'll
If they're not,
remind her.
it's on them.
okay. Yeah.
But we give these people opportunities. 40 to 80,000 people a day checking it out, and if they don't think it's worth their time to post it, then don't send it to me to post.
No, sometimes I think people
Um,
just don't think.
The biggest news of the day, the very biggest news of the day, is that R. Kim Smith is now an Essex Heritage Commissioner.
Yay, Kim.
Now ask us what Essex Heritage Commissioner means,
Right.
and we have no
No
fucking idea.
idea.
But it's true.
I'll be learning this week at our first informational meeting, which takes place this week.
Who let you know that you are now a Essex Heritage Commissioner?
This woman Robin from the Essex National Heritage Commission, Essex National Heritage Program.
I feel like I get press releases from them. Is Beauport Museum part of that?
Oh, is that, or is that spinning it? I think that's Historic New England.
Okay,
I
That's,
think,
maybe it's
I'm not
something
sure.
else.
Essex National Heritage does trails and sales. They do a ton of stuff all over Essex. I mean, that includes all the things that go on in Salem and
Is
everywhere.
Greenbelt connected with them?
Yes.
So the Essex
Well,
Greenbelt.
no, it's a separate organization, but Essex Greenbelt is part of Trails and Sales. So
It sounds like a big deal,
yes.
and so we'll go with that.
But it's probably.
But no, so just keep it. So
Right.
it's been announced now,
Right.
and stay tuned
Stay
because
tuned.
we'll actually tell you what the fuck that means
Right,
next
well,
week.
Well, maybe we can I'll just be bringing more information to you about Essex National Heritage.
I love it.
Sites.
I love it. You know,
Do you know why we have like the Cape Cod National Seashore and why we have this whole Essex National Heritage area? These two.
the Kennedys.
The Kennedys. Well, it was President Kennedy who put forward all the, who set aside the land for the Cape Cod National Seashore. And when you look at a map of Cape Cod, it takes up so much of Cape Cod has been preserved for everyone. I mean, it's just a fantastic thing. And then because of Senators Kennedy and Kerry working together, they created the Essex National Heritage area, which I just think is, so forward-thinking. So forward-thinking.
We also have the Great Marsh too, isn't that a lot of that?
Are you ready for your assignment?
Yes, what?
Here's your assignment to define what all this means.
Okay.
That's what that means.
Okay.
Like, what is ready? Here's the questions. What is the Essex Heritage?
What is the organization?
What is the organization,
Mission.
and what your role within that organization is?
Okay, I
All
will
right,
do
because
that.
I'm very intrigued.
Yes, I will do that. Well, I think it's kind of like Cape Ann Plein Air in a way. But on a much larger scale because it's just organizing all these umbrella, under the umbrella of Essex National Heritage, you have all these great things happening all over Essex County. So
Like the
I think-
Topsfield Reserve.
yeah, all the
Audubon.
yeah.
What is it?
Audubon
Audubon.
Society.
Yeah,
Well,
Audubon.
right,
What's
so-
that place that I go hiking with the kids? The Topsfield.
Is that in Ipswich? Or
Ipswich
Ipswich
Wildlife
for the-
Sanctuary.
Ipswich, right. Don't
That.
you go there? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's beautiful. That's a great spot. But is that part of that?
No, that's part of Mass Audubon.
Okay.
So,
See, that's why I'm confused. So
Right,
I would like
okay,
you to
well,
define it for
Yes, we'll find that out.
me. All right. Karen, another topic that Karen wanted to speak about. Did we not?
No,
No, we didn't get to it. We were talking about the restaurant. We got sidetracked. The chef Paolo Laboa, who had a brief stint in the Alchemy building. I forget what the name of the restaurant was there.
Yeah, I
It
forget
was-
what it was. It was so short-lived.
Was it Il Positano or something?
We
I forgot.
posted so much about it.
I
and
thought
then
it was-
We posted probably. I
Right.
think that we had more posts than
Right.
days that it was open about that
Yes,
place.
I agree.
And that guy, he kind of bounced around, very short-lived. At like within 2 years, I think he was at 3 or 4 different restaurants.
But he moved back to then he left and went to San Francisco.
Went back to
right?
He
San
went to the
Francisco,
West
and now he
Coast, and now
landed
he's-
in Portland, Maine.
He's back. He's
Oh.
back in New England.
Karen apparently is a huge fan.
Oh my god,
because
his food
she's
is
been,
fabulous.
Yeah, she's been talking about him to me for a couple of weeks now. She's very interested in getting this information about Paolo,
Laboa.
the guy that
Yes.
spent a couple of weeks here.
Well, he's been at Solo Italiano down on Commercial Street in Portland
In Portland.
for 15 months now, and they tell me that he's packing the restaurant. It's a big space too. It has 3 separate dining areas. But what is really fun is there's so many connections to Gloucester. His wife Mercedes is from Gloucester,
Yeah, Flavin's daughter.
and the crudo chef Cole is from Gloucester. The server that we had, Marissa, she's from Essex, and a lot of the chefs that used to work for him down here have followed him up to Portland now. So they're really happy he's back. But he serves Northern Italian cuisine. He's from Genoa originally, and the food is fabulous. And it's a daily menu. The menu changes every day. It's farm to table fresh, sea to table fresh, and really creative food. So I did a little walkthrough of his kitchen for Joey in Good Morning Gloucester. So Joey's gonna post a link to that.
I'm very excited to see it.
It was fun. Great wine selection. It's the hip and trendy place in Portland, they said.
You know something to say? It's the hip and trendy place in Portland, because Portland's a pretty hip and trendy place to begin
right.
with.
So that's
It's
saying a
saying
lot.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
and that was a review. That wasn't coming from them. That was a review that I read, that it was the hip and trendy place.
Portland's a great
Yes,
town
it
and a
is.
great getaway. Look, you know, Portland, Portsmouth, great town.
I always end up going there in the winter because I'll never leave Gloucester in the summer
I'm
or
the
the
same,
fall.
yeah.
so-
Same, exactly. That's exactly my. You know, it's funny. So, Kate, in January we go away for like a little bit on a road trip in New England. Last year we went down to what's called Mystic, Connecticut.
Okay. Yeah.
Couple years, the 2 years before that, we went to Montreal
You went to
and
Montreal,
Burlington,
right.
Vermont.
Right.
Both
This
great
year we're
places.
talking about going to Portland.
To Portland. Oh, great.
It's a great place to go.
3 great towns.
They have a lot of great restaurants, you're right. And great art too. Edgecombe Pottery's there.
Central Provisions in Portland. Eric Lorden turned me on from Passports. Turned me on to that. Said it might have been his favorite meal he's ever had in his entire
Oh, really?
life.
Wow.
We went there and were not disappointed.
Oh, I have to go.
Fantastic. Yeah. We
Now you
call him
have two.
Michelin star chef. That guy has.
Now you have 2 great restaurants
Yeah.
to go to.
There's several there.
Yeah.
There's several there. Yeah, but I generally don't go out. I don't go out for Italian food.
Isn't that funny? It's all over Facebook that we're opening up another Italian
It's
restaurant.
because Gloucester people are taking. It's these. You can tell exactly that kind of that group, the Brooke Welty and James Dowd and
Who
like
I
all.
love.
Huh?
I love that.
No, they're fantastic people. I totally enjoy them. But I know as soon as you mention a new restaurant opening up in town, the next sentence out of any of their mouths is, "How come we don't have an Indian restaurant? Someone should talk to the Indian restaurant in Beverly and have them come down here."
Yeah.
And we've gone through this exercise a bunch of times. I know David Calvo has personally gone to the people at the Indian restaurant
Right.
in
Really?
in Beverly
And ask them to
explained to them that there is this huge desire for Indian food in Gloucester, and they haven't.
Well, some people, I was reading some posts and they were saying, well, we just need a Starbucks and a Panera at Gloucester Crossing. I'm thinking, I didn't agree with that at all.
I
Because
like the local coffee shops
I
we
think
have.
we should support our local as much as possible. And, have Starbucks, in Beverly if you really have to go to Starbucks. Or we have so many great local coffee places.
We really do. We're filthy with great coffee shops. Oh,
As
I don't
he
know if I want
yawns.
to bring this up. Here's a.
We have Cafe Cecilia, and now we have the new place. I mean, there's just so
We got a
many.
ton of them. Lone Gull,
Lone Gull,
Haybeck
Lone Gull,
Coffee.
right.
I mean, the list goes on and on. They're all great. Every one of them is worthy of your dollars.
Plus, you were just yawning. Pleasant Tea Company has a sign up that says a yawn is a scream for coffee.
Well, I had the one that you brought me. Thank you very much for your coffee and the bagel. Where did you get it from?
Lone Gull.
Well, see, shout out to Lone Gull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love those. I love their American. And how did you know I love the Americano?
I try to remember things.
Yeah, a two-shot Americano.
But I got
is
the
like
wrong kind of sugar though. I got you the regular sugar instead of the sweetener.
Well, now he has honey anyway.
And now you've got the
No,
honey.
I'm good. It was fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, so this place opened up in Hamilton. So I drop off, my routine is on Thursdays, I drop off my daughters to school. And now they're like, one's in grade school, one's in middle school. And there's like an hour in between the openings. So I drop off the one for middle school at 7:30, and 8:10 is when the grade school starts. So I get this nice quality time with my youngest every time.
Nice.
Every that time it's just the two of us, which I love, the one-on-one time. And so this place opened up called Honeycomb in Hamilton, and it's behind, is it the Blue Peacock or something? It's downtown Hamilton, and yeah, but it's like the building is behind. It is very architecturally stunning. They did a gorgeous. I don't know for how much renovation, but like design-wise, they knocked it out of the park, and they have gourmet pastries and stuff like that, and it's all very nice. We got a regular coffee, and the regular coffee was $3.75. So Madeline likes to drink coffee. Like we share. She'll have like a couple sips and loves to tell everybody that she drinks coffee, but she has like 2 sips, right? And so we get the $3.70 coffee. We go into the car. I'm like, how do you like the coffee? She goes, I like it. It's good coffee. I said, yeah, it is good coffee. I agree with you. It's good coffee. I said, is it? Do you think it's $3? Do you think it's 3.5 times as good as the Cumberland Farms coffee that we pay $1.07 for? And she's sitting there. She goes, I don't know, Dad. I'm like, I go, this is the lesson for you. The lesson is, when you buy stuff, if there's you have to kind of assess. Because if every single thing that you purchased was 3.5 times as much as something that you could buy, that would mean you would have to work 3.5 times as long to pay for that stuff. So I told her, I said, maybe it is worth it, or maybe it's just a special occasion coffee, or maybe it isn't worth it. But I said, that is something as you get older that you need to think about and process for yourself. Is that coffee worth 3.5 times?
Good
That's so
lesson.
great, and she's probably already processing that.
I'm sure she is. I'm 100% sure. And like I said, it's a gorgeous space with beautiful furniture to sit down on, and I'm sure they have Wi-Fi and listen, it's a nice luxury experience.
Right. And it's probably,
the pastries are fantastic. I would occasionally go there.
right, and you're not there at 10 in the morning when probably all the housewives or all the stay-at-home moms are there.
Also the guys that are men and women that are waiting for the train, that are going to hop on the train to go to Boston.
Right.
They might be doing a little bit of work waiting for the train or something like that, because you can walk to the train from there.
From
easily.
there, nice.
Park and anyway, that was
Because a lot of times that price you expect, for a latte, cappuccino, right?
This is a regular coffee though.
Yeah.
So I was a little, but whatever. I think, but we agreed. Once every couple months we'll stop in here.
Yeah.
So
Good life lesson.
good life lesson. There it is. I am looking over our list. I think we got to everything. Yep, we did. We got to everything. GloucesterCast 243, 7 away from 250.
I know, that's amazing.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks, Joey.
Thank you.